Recently, I was looking back over my business career, all 11 years of it, and I was searching for the key inflection points, the things that I did that resulted in some major progress or success of some kind. And I discovered something quite profound. Every big break that I had was the result of a huge, long process of slow work. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you 3 examples of this from my life, what I did and what the results were. But here's why this discovery was so meaningful for me. The idea of spending months or even years working on one thing, maybe mastering a particular topic, creating a big piece of work, the idea of that is very daunting. You think, well, there must be a faster way of doing this. How do we growth hack this? Like, what's the 80-20? But if you come to believe and understand that the best things come as a result of months or years of deep work, well, this can give you the permission that you need to spend really unreasonable amounts of time on one thing. Now, going deep on something, it instantly sets you apart from virtually everyone else on the planet who's looking for these growth hacky ways of doing things fast. And it gives you an unfair advantage that money cannot buy. When you do big projects like this, you won't be able to do a cost-benefit analysis in advance. But if you get it right and it comes off, it can set you up for life. My name is Olly Richards. I'm the founder of StoryLearning.com. It's a multi-million-dollar online education business. I'm also a mentor and advisor to other online education businesses. And let me give you 3 examples of this deep, slow work that I'm talking about and what it did to my business career. So in my 20s, I was a jazz musician. In my jazz career, I was supposed to be practicing piano for 8 hours a day, like all of my friends were. But instead, I learned languages. I couldn't stop myself. I just loved languages. Now, on the face of it, spending all this time learning languages when I should have been playing music made no sense. Everyone thought I was mad. I was sacrificing my music career for, a hobby? But after 10 years of doing this, of obsessing in this way, I had learned 8 languages. And so I started a blog about my language learning experience. And that blog turned into a multi-million-dollar business. In retrospect, it's a pretty great use of 10 years. Example number 2. At 28 years old, a few years later after I'd stopped music, I quit music, I quit jazz, and I had moved to Japan to teach English. Now in Japan, I was so poor, I couldn't even afford to smell the cherry blossoms lining the streets. But at least I could do one thing. I could focus on mastering my craft, my new craft, which was teaching languages. So I did a teaching certificate, I did a diploma after that, and then I eventually spent 2 years doing a master's degree in applied linguistics, all in my spare time. This was my learning progression I was obsessed with. I wanted to become the best teacher that I could. The certificate and the diploma taught me how to teach. The master's degree taught me how to write and to think. Later, when I had my business and I was looking for ways to grow this new business, I decided to combine these skills of teaching and writing and thinking and write a book to help people learn languages. So over an entire summer, I sat down at my parents' kitchen table and I wrote this book, and I self-published it on Amazon. It did super well. 2 years later, Hachette, who are the second biggest publishers in the world, not the first, but they're the second biggest in the world, they then bought the rights to these books, and they expanded the series to 25 languages. This series has now gone on to sell over 1.5 million books to date, and you can find them in every half-decent bookstore in the entire world. Looking back, I would say that spending the entire summer writing that first book, well, that was time well spent. Example number 3, 18 months ago from when I'm recording this video, I decided to launch a brand new business. That's this very business right here, the YouTube channel, my newsletter, where I talk about my experience of building online education businesses. Now, as any good entrepreneur will tell you, the best way to launch a new business, well, it's with an MVP, right? Minimum viable product, right? You put something out quickly, you find product market fit, right? That's what you do. You move quickly. What is it? You move fast and break things. Well, maybe, except I had a feeling. And when I get a feeling, I do not let it go. So I decided to spend 3 months of my life, a quarter of the year, writing a book-length case study as a lead magnet for the newsletter. I put everything else on hold. It was long, slow work. Nobody in their right mind would spend so long doing this. But when I finally launched this case study, it went on to go completely viral around creative communities. And if you'd like to learn more about that business and how it works, I've written a gigantic case study explaining the behind the scenes of the business and all the nuts and bolts. It's called Anatomy of a $10 million Online Education Business. You can get the link in the description. It's completely free. My friend Chanel from Growth in Reverse did a big write-up on this case study and talked about how it just went everywhere. She was seeing it multiple times each week in various different newsletters of people sharing the case study all around. This one big-ass piece of work earned me multiple thousands of free leads and launched a business practically overnight. There's only almost $1 million of extra cash in under 2 years. Now, of the 3 projects that I told you about here, not only, they've all been enormous, they've all taken a huge amount of time, but they've all had an incredible impact on my life and my business, but they've also made me feel very proud. I'm proud of having created these things, of having started a blog, putting all that work into it, of having written an entire book, of having gone on to spend 3 months writing this case. I'm proud of what I've created. And when I think about my life and ask what I'm proud of doing, you know what? These are the things that I tell people about. I tell people about the business I started, about the books that I wrote. Now, for you, I'm sure that you have a passion project or two up your sleeve. You know, that thing that's been on your mind this whole time, a new skill that you want to master that you just think could possibly be useful at some point, something epic that you want to do in the world, and it probably doesn't make any logical sense to you whatsoever. When you tell your mastermind group about this, they will all call you crazy. You've probably talked yourself out of doing this more than a few times and made me nervous about spending so long on one thing when there are a million other quicker things that you could try. But if you try these things out, if you put your heart and soul into something, I cannot guarantee that it will work, but it at least puts you on the playing field for a chance to do something truly remarkable. And in the worst case, well, you do great work and you have a great time. In the best case, it changes your life. Either way, please just take this as permission to be unreasonable and do unreasonable things, because they do occasionally pay off big time. But you do have to be careful, because when you do have crazy success as a result of these things, well, sooner or later, you do run the risk of falling out of love with your business, even hating it. And in this video, I explain exactly why this happens to business owners like you and me and what you can do about it.